Hello. So this is my intro to my video game room tour. Um, this video is not meant for me to brag about what I have. This took probably what? This is 2023, so this probably took a good 16 years to collect everything that's in here. I don't have a lot of really rare stuff. I do have a lot of rare video games, but the other stuff, the memorabilia, not that rare. Um, this is not me bragging. That this is more to help people that are starting a game room kind of get an idea of how to set it up, or maybe give them an idea. Hopefully, it motivates some people to get a game room, to get a better job, to do whatever, be better, to be more successful. Um, but you're going to see every crevice and orifice of this game room. Wait, what? The fuck? That came out wrong. But you're going to see every nook and cranny of this game room. This is going to be basically a Dollar Tree version of Metal Jesus Rocks game room tour. It's not going to be as high quality as you can see from the video right now. It's grainy. I'm just using a cheap camera on my my webcam on my PC here. I didn't put any money into video editing software, so this is going to be, like I said, a Dollar Tree version of Metal Jesus Rocks. Come to think of it, that guy's not very metal. Like you hear him talk, he sounds like me. It's like if you he's about as metal as the Hulk if you slapped a pink thong on him and he sucked on helium or some shit. But that's the gist of the thing. This is not me bragging. I hope nobody thinks that it comes across that way. So, but anyways, yeah, let's get started on the video here.
Okay, so finally we're heading down into the game room. And the first thing you're going to notice is this falling down poster right in front of your face. And I placed this here on purpose because this is a special movie to me personally. The older you get, the more you'll understand the way Michael Douglas acts in this movie. Okay, so anyways, moving on. Up to the left here on the left wall here, you've got the defense license plate, which is from Falling Down. His nickname is Defense. To the right here, you've got the Red Dead Redemption 2 poster. Had to have that. I recently finally played Red Dead Redemption 2. I've got my Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, and Final Fantasy 9 posters in a row. I had to have those soon after you got into the game room because I grew up on Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. I think those are the best games of all time, personally. They're basically sibling games. I've got my Star Wars Mandalorian poster here, and then I've got this is the first arcade cabinet that I bought when I moved into this house. I bought this arcade cabinet just a few months after I moved into this house. I love this arcade cabinet. I got it from the Arcade Guys. You can find them on Instagram. I believe they have their own website. I bought this arcade cabinet for about $1,300 including shipping, and I think it was worth every penny. It still works 3 years later, and it has over 17,000 games. It's got the Super Nintendo, it's got the Genesis, it's got everything you can think of. It even includes games that have been hacked. So I would highly recommend getting this if you have the money. Okay, now moving on, we go to the bathroom. Yes, my game room has a bathroom. basically a master game room. I've got more Final Fantasy, a Final Fantasy VIII rug. I've got a Pilot Wings. I thought this was kind of original. I don't see a lot of Pilot Wings in video game rooms. I've got my Chrono Cross picture, had to represent that. Then I've got this Final Fantasy IX shower curtain. Very unique item in my bathroom. It looks kind of silly, but I love Final Fantasy so much I don't give a fuck. I've got Final Fantasy VII rug, of course. Cannot represent Final Fantasy VII enough. That is my favorite game of all time. I'm sure many of you know this. But yeah, this bathroom is a great place to drop a deuce after pausing your game. And it's in the comfort of my own house. There's no better place to drop a deuce than in your own personal bathroom. No one can hear you fart. Wait a minute, can I say that? Am I going to get demonetized? Okay, now moving on from the restroom, we have the washer and dryer. Just ignore that. Got my Final Fantasy IX poster. That came out of a magazine, and it's actually quite rare. I've got my blues artist, my favorite blues artist. I had to represent some of the blues. I love the blues ever since hearing it in Final Fantasy 15, ironically. Here's my jukebox. I like to twerk to, Justin Bieber, Olivia Newton-John, and I make sure that the windows are all covered. Here's my Final Fantasy VII kind of area, and this is one of my favorite items in the entire game room, this Cloud Strife cardboard cutout. I had to have the 90s CGI Cloud Strife cardboard cutout with the logo. I think it's just, first of all, it's just iconic in terms of just the video game industry, and this was something that I knew from the start was going to be in my game room. Very proud of this. Okay, and here's my Metal Gear Solid poster, another very important item that I had to have. Metal Gear Solid is my second favorite game of all time. So again, had to represent accordingly for that. My Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 pillows for my seating area where I play all my newer games. And I got my Metal Gear Solid throw pillow. I bought those all on Redbubble and Etsy. So Redbubble and Etsy is where you can get those custom-made pillows. Got my 65-inch Vizio that I bought 3 years ago at Walmart for like $400, $500. This PS2, that is not a PS2. That is actually a modded PS2 that has over 800 games on it. You can get it at a website called moddedconsoles.com with a Z at the end. Here's my Spyro the Dragon cutout. This was actually the first cardboard cutout I bought. Surprisingly, over the Final Fantasy VII cutout. This was the first one I actually had made. And this came out looking exactly how I wanted it. The people who made these are from a website called customcardboardcutouts.com. And I called them. They had a graphic designer help me out. I talked to him, and he personally made it to where Spyro was standing on the logo the way you see it in this cardboard cutout, and it didn't cost any extra. They just did it themselves. Very talented company, very talented people, and yeah, I had to have this in my game room. I personally just think that cardboard cutouts are one of the best ways to decorate any kind of room that you like. Okay, now moving on, I've got this Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell picture. Iconic radio show that's been on since the 80s. It's still on today in all 50 states overnight from midnight to 4 in the morning. I listen to it almost every night. Iconic radio, paranormal. They talk about aliens, everything that's unusual and strange. You've got this pool table that I spent like $600 or $700 on. I think I got this pool table from Walmart's website. They shipped it. My dad and I brought it down. Thank you so much, Dad, for helping me with that. And this pool table is just worth every bit of the money I spent on it, which wasn't really that much. We've got this air hockey table. Now, this is the one thing in the game room I kind of regret buying. It just looks cheap to me. The red doesn't match the coloring in my game room. And I just wish I would have bought the one I saw at Scheels when I had the chance. So here's some posters. I kind of like those morbid claymation, Tim Burton style movies. I thought Frankenweenie was underrated. Dead Rising, one of my favorite games. I finally got the chance to play it when it came out on PS4 about 6 years ago. Of course, got to have The Nightmare Before Christmas. If you like the 90s, that's like one of the most iconic pictures from the 90s. Final Fantasy VIII. I cannot represent Final Fantasy enough. Jurassic Park. That's my second favorite movie of all time. Gotta represent. Gots to represent. All right, and now we're gonna pan around here, around the air hockey table, and this poster here in the middle is The Man Show. This is my favorite show of all time. I have not found a show that is funnier than The Man Show. Adam Carolla, Jimmy Kimmel were a perfect pair. One of them has changed a lot over the years. He's not nearly as funny as he used to be. I'm sure many of you can guess who that is. Final Fantasy XII poster, very polarizing Final Fantasy, but I personally loved it. Kingdom Hearts, gots to represent Kingdom Hearts. Iconic game, great soundtrack. Return of the Jedi, this is my favorite movie of all time, mainly because of the ending scenes between the Emperor, Luke, and Vader. Incredible. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, one of my top 5 games of all time. Final Fantasy 15 poster in the corner, and here's my foosball table. I was not sure if I wanted a foosball table when I first started my game room, but this is actually one of the funnest things in my game room. I've had friends over, we've played it. I have more fun with the foosball table than I do with the air hockey table, maybe even the pool table. Here's my NBA Jam Shaq edition. It's a larger, more life-size version of the original Arcade 1-Up that came out. Here's my PlayStation neon light sign. I think neon lights are almost a must in a game room. You got to have at least one. It gives it that kind of gives it a bar room feel. But yeah, this Shaq Edition NBA Jam is awesome. It's the game is fun. I'm not huge on sports games, but it's actually a fun sport. It's kind of like the NFL Blitz of NBA. Got my Ridge Racer cab. We're gonna pan around here. Golden Tee. That's the XL cab, so it's more like the original size. Got my Witcher 3 poster. Death Stranding poster. A very polarizing game that I just loved it. Here's my, of course I already mentioned this, Golden Tee 3D XL Arcade 1-Up. In my opinion, this is the best Arcade 1-Up that they have released so far. It's not only life-size, but it has like 3 or 4 really fun games on it. Bowling, shuffleboard, and obviously golf. Got a Pac-Man. You got to have Pac-Man. If you're going to have an arcade cabinet, it's got to be, if you're going to have one, it's got to be Pac-Man. Here's my Nintendo Neon Light. I love this thing. It's rare, and again, it adds life to the game room. It makes it feel like you're in a bar room arcade. And Pac-Man is quite possibly the most recognizable arcade game of all time. Got my Final Fantasy poster, the original iconic cover from the Nintendo, 1987. Got The Simpsons. I'm not even a big Simpsons fan, but this Arcade 1-Up was only $300 with the stool, with the sign. It was a steal. Got my Frogger Arcade 1-Up. Again, only $300. So this was a steal. Got my Darth Maul standee. This one was actually pre-made. This one was actually licensed, made by Star Wars or whoever the fuck it is that made it. And I think Darth Maul is like, you know, behind Vader, he's probably the coolest Sith in Star Wars. Alright, we're panning around. Here's my television shows. I've got probably hundreds of shows on this rack. And it just continues to grow. I'm going to get this thing completely filled up, and they're all going to be facing sideways soon enough. Alright, now moving on in the game room. Trucking on through here. We are just moving right along. We've got the PS2 selection, and this used to be my biggest collection for any console of games. Not anymore. Now that's the PlayStation 4. But I still have well over 500 PlayStation 2 games. This is my Sega, my third and final Neon Light, which I finally put up just a few days ago. Here's some of my better games. I've got Metal Gear Solid 3. I've got Grandia 2. Star Ocean, some of my favorites, Wild Arms, Kingdom Hearts, Grand Theft Auto. Gotta have Grand Theft Auto. And here, I'm going to show you guys really quickly some of my prized possessions, my rare games. So here we have Rule of Rose, Kuon, and Haunting Grounds. These games are individually, and I mean, I'm being serious when I say this, worth over $400. I know Wild Arms 5 and Xenosaga 3 are worth, well, I know Xenosaga 3 is over $300 at this point. Wild Arms 5 it's in the hundreds now, and it's in the box. So, you know, I'm very lucky that I bought these games when I worked at Arby's, living in my parents' house at between 17 and 19 years old. I didn't have any bills to pay, so I bought all these rare games. These are just a few of the rare games that I have on the PS2. I got lucky and bought them before they became expensive. Oh my gosh, look at this wall. Look at this wall of pride. Beautiful PlayStation 2 section. Just awesome. I recently put these shelves up in favor of the wire grids. And here's Zach and Nick. Or no, I'm sorry. Zach and Aaron from Ghost Adventures with their Step Brothers inspired funny photo. I had to have that in my game room. I'm a huge Ghost Adventures fan. Metal Gear Solid 3 poster. And I recently saw this movie in theaters, 65, with Adam Driver. I loved it. I had to get this poster. I love the cover. Here's my Neo Geo MSX arcade cab. Got my PS3 selection here with I put this 24-inch TV mounted up above my PS3 games because I felt like it gives the game room a storeroom GameStop-like feel. And if you can't tell, if you haven't noticed, this looks like a store. It feels like a movie rental store from the 90s. It feels like a GameStop. And that's exactly what I was wanting. That's what I envisioned when I moved into this house for the sole purpose of having this game room. And it feels like I'm in a GameStop. And, you know, GameStop, Blockbuster, those things are starting to go away. So I got to preserve it in my own house in order to keep it, for it still to be around. Because Amazon and eBay are killing places like, well, Blockbuster's pretty much gone, but they just killed places like Blockbuster, and now they're starting to kill off GameStop. Here's my PS4 selection. This is my biggest game collection of any console right here. I'm over 600 games. It's just insane. My Switch collection. This is the first, well, no, this is my second Nintendo console that I've been collecting for. I love the Switch. Didn't realize I was going to love it as much as I do. I've never played it handheld. Never played the Switch handheld. Isn't that crazy? I need to get with the times. And here's my Dragon Quest VIII poster. I will never forget getting this game on Christmas of 2004. That game blew my mind. That game is so amazing. It is a masterpiece, and that is not an overstatement. Here's my PlayStation 1 selection. I went with the slat wall look. I bought it at Menards. You know, they were only like, I think $16 per 2x4 slate of slat wall. It has that GameStop feel, but it's a pain in the ass to put this slat wall up. But my PlayStation 1 selection, it's probably worth the most money. It's over 400 games, and PlayStation 1 is becoming extremely hard and expensive to collect for. PS1 is my favorite console of all time. I think the most iconic games were on this system. If you've seen my game reviews, you would already know that I feel this way. But I mean, it's got Final Fantasy VII. It's got Final Fantasy VIII. It's got Final Fantasy IX. Those are three amazing games. It's got Chrono Cross, Xenogears. You've got Spyro the Dragon 1 through 3, Crash Bandicoot 1 through 3, Gran Turismo, obviously Metal Gear Solid. The list goes on and on. There are so many iconic, legendary games on the PS1. And moving on, we got the Final Fantasy X poster. This was a game that I hated as a child, and when I played it again as an adult, I loved it. Final Fantasy X is a masterpiece. We've got my game strategy guide rack. This is such an awesome rack. Looks just like something you'd see in a library or a store. Alright, and as we continue on with the tour, we've got my music CD rack, which I recently bought not too long ago. All my blues CDs are down here. At this point, I kind of gave up on the classic rock. I love classic rock, but I'm sick of hearing the same shit every fucking day. The blues, in my opinion, is better than classic rock. It's just easier to snap your fingers and tap your feet to the blues. I think the harmonica complements the guitar so freaking well that I don't ever want to go back to just hearing the guitar alone. And I love this spinning rack. It's just perfect. All right, now as we pan to the right here, going down the center of the game room, we've got the only standee that I have that is actually not custom made. This is my Final Fantasy 15 GameStop standee. I bought this on eBay for $200, and I love the color palette that Final Fantasy 15 used. That blue hue, clouds with the the desert western coast of the U.S. kind of look. Then on the other side, you've got the Rise of the Tomb Raider. I have not played this game yet, but I've heard it's good. I kind of like the look of this cutout. It just makes it feel more like you're in a game store when you have a cardboard cutout. That's literally from GameStop. I've got my Final Fantasy VIII Squall cardboard cutout. It's hard to find a good place for this thing. It takes up a lot of space. I mean, the fucker is a wide load. It's as wide as Amy Schumer's ass. The fucker just takes up too much space. I just don't know where to put it. I don't know where to put it, but I want to keep it. It's a very well-made cardboard cutout. There's my movies. I'm not as big of a movie guy. I love movies. Don't get me wrong. I love movies, but to me, video games are just better because you can control what the characters are doing on the screen. You can explore. You can't do that in movies. You've got to follow the characters and do what they want to do. But yeah, here as we pan around here, this is kind of the end of the game room tour video. We're winding down here to give you a nice bird's eye view from a distance of the entire game room here as we pan around. And yeah, I hope I wasn't annoying. I hope, because I know my voice can be kind of hard to listen to, but there's nothing I can do about that. But this is the end of the game room tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and subscribe and shits. And I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like this game room. I hope you like the layout, because if you don't, it would hurt my fooey wings. It would make me cry, because I'm a millennial. Please respect me. Anyways, subscribe and shits, and yeah, cool. Thank you. Bye.